You may enter. I'm okay. Where's Valerie?
She went with Dennis. We ran into him downstairs and they said I should just come up.
So how you doing, Jessica? You're looking very automated tonight.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It's just a fashion concept.
What?
Nothing. You want to come in?
So how long do you think they're gonna be?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a half hour?
What? Well, what do you mean? Where do they have to go?
Well, like the East 50s?
Well, okay. I don't mean to be paranoid, I just don't want to be the victim of some teenage matchmaking scheme.
Noted.
You know? If I'm gonna get set up, I'm gonna do it myself.
Well, nobody's setting you up, so why don't you calm down?
Oh, you can't see why I would think that?
I don't know or care what you think, Jessica. I'm just staying here because my dad threw me out of the house. Go home, it's fine with me.
Okay, sorry. You probably think I'm like a total bitch now, right?
I don't think anything. I don't even know what you're talking about. And now you're mine! I'm kidding. Calm down. Noted.
Is it okay if I smoke in here?
Go ahead, it's not my house.
Well, is there like an ashtray or something I can use?
I'm sure there's one somewhere.
It's okay, I'll just use this. Thanks, though.
So, are you like a really big cigarette smoker?
I guess so.
Well, how many cigarettes would you say you smoke in the average day?
I don't know, like a pack and a half a day on a really heavy smoking day. Maybe like half a pack a day if I'm like in the country.
Yeah, I never really got into the whole cigarette scene myself, but I did read things about it.
But if you smoke pot all the time, it's much worse on your lungs than cigarettes.
Yeah, I guess my lungs are pretty severely damaged.
I'm sure they are. So, did those guys go to get to get coke?
That's the plan.
I don't want to do very much.
Well, we're getting like a lot. And we're getting some Dom Perignon to top it off, so it should be pretty good.
Sounds good. So, why did your dad throw you out of the house? What did you do?
We just had a slight policy dispute. It's no big deal.
Are you staying here? Where are you going to sleep?
I don't know. It wasn't like a really detailed plan or anything. I was just planning on crashing on the floor for a few days till I figure out what I'm doing.
What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm not sure. I have I'm thinking about buying a bus ticket and heading out west. I have a buddy that lives in Seattle, so I might just do that. But I definitely won't get out of this pit, though, that's for sure.
You mean New York? You don't like living here?
What's the like about it? You go outside and it smells bad, you know? I live in Central Park West.
Well,
I like the outdoors.
I know, but
Like on Twitter, I want to visit this buddy of mine that lives in Jacksonville, in Wyoming, and we just ski every day, you know? And bus tables at night. And like, you go outside and you wake up in the morning and you open the front door and it's like silent, you know? You go outside and it's like the mountains and snow and nobody around for miles and like the whole sky over your head, you know? So what the fuck am I doing languishing around in this trash heap for? The intellectual stimulation? I mean, I'm not getting any. All I do is smoke pot. I can do that anywhere. I can bring that with me, you know?
Yeah. I don't really take advantage of the city's facilities either. And it seems like such a total waste.
Yeah! I mean, yeah.
But you're not planning on going to school at all? Didn't you go to school somewhere or something?
Briefly.
So?
It just wasn't happening for me.
Where were you?
Ohio?
Where? Oberlin?
Whatever. You're at MIT, right?
Yeah. I really like it there. It's a little jappy for me, but there are a lot of really great people if you know where to look for them. But it's kind of weird because I'm living at home, which is great. Like, my mom and I get along incredibly well. But a lot of my formerly closest friends are out of the city now, and sometimes I wonder, you know, if I should have. I don't know.
So, are you heavily into fashion development?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of designing. I've always done it. It's what I want to do.
Well, my basic philosophy on clothes is that they should be comfortable and not look like too many people had to slave over their creation. Then again, I'm not very fashion oriented.
Yeah, but you know, you will be someday.
I doubt it.
Yeah, but you will. Your whole personality will be different.
You think?
Sure. What you're like now has nothing to do with what you're gonna be like. Like right now, you're all like this rich little pot-smoking burnout rebel. But 10 years from now, you're gonna be like a plastic surgeon, reminiscing about how wild you used to be.
Well, I don't want to make any rash predictions at this point, but I seriously doubt I'm going to be going in for plastic surgery.
Okay, whatever. But you'll definitely be a completely different person. Everything you think will be different, and the way you act, and all your most passionately held beliefs are all going to be completely different. It's really depressing.
How do you think it?
Because it basically just invalidates whoever you are right now. You know what I mean? It makes your whole self at any given point in your life seem so completely dismissible. So it's like, what's the point?
I don't really know about that.
Well, it's true.
Maybe so, but I don't really agree with it.
Well, I've thought about this a lot.
So have I.
I mean, look who our president is now, if you don't believe me.
Well, I'm not sure I follow you.
Classic example is all those kids from the 60s who were so righteous about changing the face of civilization. And then, the minute they got older, they were like, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just be a lawyer.
I guess that's one interpretation.
But it's totally true. Now, like Ronald Reagan is president of the United States? I mean, how embarrassing is that?
Pretty embarrassing. I have to say, I definitely know people that are still seriously into civic activities. Like, well, my mother does a fair amount of volunteer work for this great-picking civil liberties organization in California.
I know people who do that too. But I'm not talking about the last pathetic remnants of Upper West Side Jewish liberalism. I'm talking about the mainstream. It's such a joke. I mean, I definitely feel that evil has like triumphed in our time.
So do I. But I still don't know if I would ascribe all that to the theory that people's personalities undergo some kind of fundamental alteration when they get older.
Well, Well, they do when it's a big factor.
Well, I mean, they obviously do to a degree.
Yeah.
And things definitely happen to alter your general trajectory,
Yeah,
but
no,
I think that you basically just get a set of characteristics and they sort of just develop in different ways. Like,
Yeah,
like
but
the last year of high school, I suddenly realized that all the weird kids I grew up with were well on their way to becoming really weird adults. It was pretty scary, you know? I mean, you see a crazy kid and you realize he's never going to grow out of it. He's just a fucked up crazy kid who's just going to be a fucked up crazy adult with like a ruined life.
Are you done now?
I'm done with that thought.
Well, can I please say something?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not talking about whether you're quote-unquote fucked up or not. I don't mean it as a moral issue.
Well, neither do I.
I
think that personality components are protons and electrons, like in science. Every molecule is made of the same basic components. Like the difference between a calcium molecule and a hydrogen molecule is like one proton or something.
Yeah, that's wrong, but yeah.
So my theory is that people's personalities are basically all constructed the same way. None of them are exactly the same, but they're all made of the same thing.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Fortunately, it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
That is unfortunate.
I'm not talking about the chemical structure of your brain. I'm talking about, it's like when you find an old letter that you wrote, that you don't remember writing, and it's got all these thoughts and opinions in it that you don't remember having, and it's written to somebody that you don't even remember having ever written a letter to.
I've never found a letter like that.
Well, I have, like a lot of them. It just makes you realize there's just these huge swaths of time in your life that didn't register at all, that you might just as well have been dead during them for all the difference they make to you now.
That's a fairly nihilistic viewpoint, Jessica.
Well, I am so completely the opposite of nihilistic. It's amazing anyone could even say that about me.
Well,
But we don't agree, so that's okay. You think what you think, and I think what I think, and there's no way we're ever going to convince each other. So my suggestion is we just drop it.
all right.
Hey, is there anything to drink in here? I've got this really bad taste in my mouth.
I think there's some water.
I can-
Well, that's all right. Chivalry is not dead. It just smells funny.
Thanks a lot. God, I was so thirsty. So, who are all these photos of? Are you on this wall?
Yeah, I'm represented.
Wow, is that you?
Yep.
God, what a little stoner. You look so different with long hair.
Yeah, everyone definitely went for the traditional post-high school chop.
Valerie says you just cut your hair because Dennis cut his hair. Well, you definitely look better with it short.
That seems to be the general consensus. But it makes me like instantly want to have long hair.
Wow, what a great picture of Dennis. I mean, he definitely has a slight cleanliness problem, but if he didn't, he's seriously gorgeous.
You think?
Oh my God, are you kidding?
I guess.
So his dad's like a really famous painter, right?
Guess he's pretty famous.
Wow. So is that like really hard for Dennis to deal with?
I have no idea.
And his father's really sick or something?
Definitely having some pretty dire prostate problems.
Wow, his mom is beautiful.
It's an incredibly attractive family.
What does she do?
I don't know. She's like some big city worker administrator of some kind. She's always like designing swimming pools for the poor or something.
What?
Nothing. She runs these programs for the city government. She designs social work programs for like poor kids and drug addicts and stuff, but she's a fucking psycho.
Why do you say that? Just because she's a social worker?
No, because of her behavior. I don't know. She's just like really striped. She's like a bleeding heart dominatrix with like a hairdo.
Bleeding heart?
I don't know, yeah.
What are you, like a big Republican or something?
Well, not at all. I'm a full Democrat.
Then what are you saying about her?
Because that's what she's like. I don't really care. Maybe she's really nice. I don't really want to get into an argument about it.
No, it's just my sister is a social worker.
Oh, I didn't say anything about your sister.
I know.
I didn't even know you had a sister.
I know.
And I was not attempting to vilify the entire social worker community.
I know. I'm just saying I really admire people who dedicate themselves like that.
So do I. What she does is fine. It's just how she is. Well, I think it's totally brave to do that kind of thing. You know, unless you just like...
Unless what?
Unless you just have no sense of people. No. Unless, like, your mission overrides your actual moral opinion. Forget it. It doesn't matter.
All right. I certainly didn't mean to offend you.
I'm not offended.
Hey, what's this stuff?
Those are just some of my belongings.
What are these?
It's just some fucking shit.
What are these, like antique toys or something?
For the most part.
These are really cool.
You think?
Yeah. They remind me of the stuff my cousins had when I was a little kid. I always wanted to play with their toys, and they were like, "Go play with dolls, you little bitch!" And I was like, "Fuck you!" I love old toys.
I have a fair amount of this kind of thing.
Do you know how many toys I have? I mean, how much of the stuff I had when I was little, I wish I had now. Like, I think of some of those toys, and I just look back on them with this longing, you know?
Definitely.
Who are these guys?
That's my Major Matt Mason collection. You know Major Matt Mason? Come on! Major Matt Mason? One of your kids? Oh man, he's the best. Check him out, he's like ready for his mission. I have the complete set. All in prime condition. I could actually sell them for a lot of money. But I'm hanging on to them.
Really cool.
Oh, and this is my amazing toaster. Toaster amazing, I call it. Look at this, it's really something. Yeah. GE made only like a few hundred of this model, like in the 50s. Then they recalled them because they were exploding in people's kitchens at breakfast and burning down their homes. So only a few hundred actually exist. I got one from this dealer I know in Colorado, and he had no idea what he was telling me.
Huh.
I have been close with it before, but nothing bad happened to me. But I don't do it too much because it really depreciates in value. But it's great to know I'm one of the only ones in existence.
So what's your favorite thing in this collection?
Definitely my opening day Wrigley Field baseball cap my grandfather gave me. No contest.
What's that?
This is a real collector's item, like an amazing collector's item, actually. My mom's dad got it the first day at Wrigley Field when he was totally like a little kid in 1914.
Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs opening day. True value.
True value hardware, all right. Looks good, Jessica.
I didn't know your family was from Chicago.
They're not. Just my grandfather. He was actually really cool. He was like a fairly well-known aviator. You know, with like the fur lined leather cap and the ear flaps and the whole bit. He actually set a couple of early endurance records in the 1920s.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was pretty interesting. Or like when I introduced him to one of my friends, I'd be like, "Grandpa, this is my friend Neil." And then my grandpa would be like, "Nice to meet you, Neil. Are you Jewish?" And then my one friend Neil would be like, yeah. And then my grandpa would be like, "You know, Neil, in the year 1923, I was the greatest Jewish aviator in this country. That's because I was the only Jewish aviator in this country. You want to see some pictures?" And then he'd break out his clippings, which had these photos of him with his fucking sock with camel that he carried with him all the time. No.
Where does your mom live?
Santa Barbara.
God, so why don't you go stay with her? That's supposed to be pretty nice.
I don't particularly want to live in California for one thing.
Why not?
Because of the people in it. Plus, my mom lives with her boyfriend, and anyway, she's kind of freaked out generally, so it can be kind of rough being around for a very long stretch.
Did you, didn't you have a sister that died or something?
Yeah, I did.
So, I mean, is that why you say your mom is freaked out?
I would say it's definitely a prominent factor.
What did your sister die of?
She was murdered.
Oh my God, is that true?
No, it was just a little joke we have about it in the family. Yeah, it's true.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean, is that true? I just meant, you know, oh my God.
Yeah.
How did it happen? Did you mind talking about it?
Not really. You want any pot?
No, please. But you go ahead.
That's all right.
So, what happened? That is so horrible.
She was dating this guy named Julian. And my parents were kind of freaked out about it because she was only 19. He was much older. It's really not my favorite topic.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.